Hello, friends, and welcome to the Doodle-to-Doing Doodlecast for people who want to learn about fascinating topics and find their own fun way to inspired action. What is a Doodlecast, you ask? It's a combination of a podcast featuring guests and a workshop in which participants join us at the recording. I'm your host, Karen Light, Doodle Empress, aka founder and creative coach at HowDoodle. If you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, please feel free to simply listen, or better yet, grab your own doodle utensil and something to doodle on as we jump into another juicy topic. Let's go.
All right, welcome everyone. Here is what to expect from our time together. We're going to set some intentions, followed by a little doodle test and a warm-up. And then after we introduce ourselves to each other, you're going to hear from our guest, Josh Zepess, who is on the call with us. And then we're going to process the information through a guided visualization and doodling exercise, followed by a rich discussion through which everyone can identify that next inspired action for them. So let me share my screen. All right, spirit of a doodle. So this is the essence of what doodling is all about. For those who are listening, we're just looking at an image here that has a whole bunch of things listed about what a doodle encompasses. So I'm going to ask you guys, you can come off mute and just popcorn in. Which phrase or word is jumping out to you today?
Leave room for surprise.
Play silly.
Don't tolerate boredom.
Forget
Enjoy
outcomes.
Enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process.
Yeah. Feel the flow.
Feel the flow. Awesome. So these are the intentions that you can carry with you throughout our doodling process together. I recommend that you write it down for yourself so you don't forget it. At some point, we're going to be doodling. If you get stuck, it's a good reminder to come back, to look at it, recenter in that intention, and continue on. Right, so let's do a really quick doodle test. So on that same piece of paper, all I want for you to do is to draw just a tiny somewhere, nothing fancy, just a little circle. Oh, of course, the lighting is weird for mine. Just a little circle or a circle of some kind, and then hold it up for me so I can tell that everybody's got it. Just a circle of any kind. I see Anna's, I see Josh's, Sunitha's, Amanda, Andy, Nikki. Yeah, Carrie's got it up. Okay, so we're already warming up our doodle muscles. Everybody can doodle. But a couple other things, and the reasons why I wanted you to draw a little something simple is because this is, doodling is a great way to pay attention, right? Like it engages all three learning centers when you doodle while you listen. So feel free to doodle away while I or Josh is speaking. And I just gave you one simple doodle that you can expand on, play with, draw lots of. And another reason I gave it to you is because when we do doodle, you might have a moment of stuckness, and you could just return to that circle, trace it, draw more, expand on it as a place to sort of regroup, maybe remember your intention, and then see where it inspires you to go next. So that is not just a circle, you all. It is a special, special little tool. All right, so we're going to jump into a 1-minute warm-up doodle. And for this doodle, I want you to consider for a second the reason you came. The title of this Doodlecast is How to Become Magnetically Attractive in Business. So let's start with a 1-minute warm-up doodle that somehow captures what you do. Somehow captures what you do. So I'm going to put a minute on the timer. Don't even think about it. Just jump in. Something that captures what you do. so we are going to introduce ourselves to each other. And the way we're going to do that is just by saying who you are, where you're located, and then you can hold up your doodle and say a word or phrase to go with it. All right, so I'm Karen. I am sitting in Cincinnati, Ohio. Here is my doodle. I'm gonna say, I want to say something like inspiring creativity. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
I'm Vanessa. I'm sitting here in the Yucatan in Mexico. And this is my doodle. I don't know if you can see. I'm a healer. So what I do is I warm up people's hearts and minds. That's kind of what I came up with me being the sun in the middle and the people around, just helping them sort out their issues, some of their issues. With a little warmth.
Beautiful.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm here in San Diego, California. And I have music and people. I'm a musician and a festival director. And the sun is usually shining here in San Diego. So that means something to me as well. So yeah, music and connection as currency is my motto.
Hello, everybody. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I help people shine light so that they can look at how their stories are connected, and that way they can walk the path together and build together. Thank you.
I am Carrie Doan, also in Cincinnati, Ohio, and here is my doodle. I am a pleasure coach, and so this resembles helping people to kind of spark life and turn themselves back on through pleasure and bliss.
Hello, I'm Anna, and I did mine like super tiny, but I think you could see it. So there's a like little healing hands, a camera, and some art supplies. And I kind of hold many different hats, but I'm a healer through my hands and through visual elements. So that's
Beautiful.
me. Yeah.
All right. Here's my simple doodle. My name is Nikki Smith. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, actually Buckeye, Arizona. And I do a lot with words. So I help people self-publish their books. I do grants. I write.
So I drew this, which is it's never quite looked like this before. So I'm going to go with, I'm Andy Swindler, and I am in Chicago in the United States. And scaling empathy is what I'm about generally. And it's hard to tell that I actually picked two different colors very close to each other. So one color is sort of going out to people, and then the other is all of those people then becoming interconnected. And one of the places I do that is through the context of like diversity, equity, and inclusion facilitation. So, thanks.
All right, so last on here for me is Josh. I thought I let you do a little introduction before I do one too. Maybe yours is all we need.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm Josh Zepess in Orlando, Florida. And this is my doodle. And you're going to see why, by the way, that my art is in words and not in graphics. Let's see if I can put this up here.
It's a perfect doodle. There it goes.
The phrase is lighthouse effect. Now just leave it at that for now.
Okay, so we'll hear more about that soon. All right, hope you guys are all a little bit more warmed up. So without further ado, I do want to introduce our guest to you all. In a world where dreams are crushed, souls are forgotten, and rest never sleeps, Josh Zepess, the Identity Archaeologist, is on a mission to ensure talented solopreneurs turn every business first impression into a second impression, where the sale actually happens, by raising their ROC, which is their return on conversation, so they can profit more without grinding more. After decades on the corporate farm as a shy, introverted engineer, he realized that the cubicle could no longer contain him, so he escaped. It was a rocky road through entrepreneurship in the financial and gym industries, until he finally stopped ignoring his genius. Now he plays in it profitably. Why is that word hard for me to say? Do we have to go into that in this session? Maybe. Profitably every day. When he's not digging for business gold, he flies airplanes, brews beer, runs long-distance obstacle course races, and sets the bar low as a semi-professional comedian. Not the funny kind. All right, Josh, take it
This is
away.
good. All right. So yes, I'm Josh Zepess, and I want to talk about magnetic business attraction. This means a lot to me, especially as Karen mentioned. I grew up. I lived a shy my entire life. You know, some people live a lie. I lived a shy. I was told, Josh, keep your head down, obey the rules, just do what you're told, and that's the secret to success. And I'm sure, as we all know, as artists, as people that create, nothing could be further from the truth, right? We don't want to color in the lines. We don't want to follow the rules. But I did that. I did that successfully for 20 years. I grew up in corporate America. And one day I just realized everything I thought was right wasn't so right. Like I wasn't as happy as I wanted to be. I wasn't wealthy or as wealthy as I needed to be. And I wasn't free. And I made a decision at that point. I said, you know what, Josh? If you're going to win in life or if you're going to lose in life, I just want it to be my fault, right? I just want to be in the driver's seat. And that's all that I ask. So I got out of that. I escaped, as they say, I escaped the cubicle farm. And I started looking into me, like, what do successful people know that I didn't know? What was I missing? What wasn't I taught? And I started looking at some of the things that I did well. And one day I was like, all right, what is your genius? What do you like to do? Where do you want to play? And what are all these skills you built up over all these years, you know, through schooling, through corporate America? And I consolidated, I crystallized it into what I do today. And when I was in the financial industry, I was in entrepreneurship, the gym industry, I was actually very successful at sales, and I never knew why. So I started digging into it. I've done decades of research on human behavior, why people do what they do, because it fascinates me. And some of these sales trainings and techniques that people were teaching. And I realized there was a big gap that we were told, and I was told this when I went for my MBA, I was told, Josh, emotions and business, they don't mix. Keep them separate, right? You got to be one person over here in your personal life. You got to be a different person over here in your professional life. You know, don't let those two cross. And I was like, but wait a minute, I'm one person. So who am I lying to? Are you telling me to lie to my family or my clients or both? And I was like, no, we can't do this. So I get people today who are like, Josh, you trying to blur the lines between personal and business? I'm like, no, I'm trying to eradicate those lines because they don't have to be there. So I want to talk real quick, and I don't have a lot of time, but I want to give you some little tips on how to be magnetically attractive in business. Oh, there we go. I was trying to change the slide. So has everyone heard the phrase, people buy from whom they like and trust? If you've ever been to any like business 101, or maybe you've heard your uncle say it or something like that, or aunt, we've all heard this, right? It's not exactly 100% true though. People buy from whom they like, and trust in that proportion. So what does that mean, right? We're talking about likability is the first thing that happens when you meet someone. When someone meets you in a business situation or even a personal, the first thing they're assessing within a few seconds is, do I like this person? And then if I like the person, now they'll give you the opportunity to earn their trust. But yet when we go and present ourselves, when we go introduce ourselves, what do we typically do? We talk about our products and services. We talk about our credibility. We talk about all our degrees. We talk about all the other stuff, right? And we hide behind our product. That's what I see a lot out there. So likability, which comes from authenticity, by the way, likability is just about being you, is one of the most crucial things. So what I did, and just for time's sake, I'm gonna go a little fast here. I just developed a manuscript recently. It's not even published yet. So you guys are getting a sneak peek into this. And I know Karen was excited when I sent it to her. 52 tips to being magnetically attractive in business. And I call it the introvert edition. Introverts have a very special place in my heart because I am a severe one. And we're the ones that ironically struggle in sales when we're actually the best at sales. We're the best at listening. We're the best at emotionally connecting, emotional intelligence. We have what it takes. So Is everyone ready for 52 tips in the next 7 minutes? I'm just kidding. No. Karen actually chose 4 tips. All right. She chose 4 of them that were her favorites. And those are the ones I want to share with you. And then maybe after, we're happy to answer any questions. Oops, here we go. So tip number 7, declare an enemy. I believe everyone should have an enemy. Now, and it sounds weird saying this, I get it. You know, Josh, what are you talking about? Like the whole country's divided. Everyone thinks the other person's the enemy. What are you talking about? I'm not talking about a person. I'm talking about a thing that's so evil and so unholy, it does not belong in existence in this world. Everyone should have one. In other words, something you're willing to stand against. A fight, let's say a fight that you're not just willing to lead, but you're willing to die for. Because when we have something like that, when we have something that lets us get out of bed, put 2 feet on the ground and like, I'm going after this, right? Whether we're standing for something good or against something bad, it gives us meaning, right? It gives us purpose beyond business and products. This is the key, beyond our art, beyond business, beyond products. This is a bigger mission that we're on. It's so rare to find someone who's willing to take this level of a stand. But if you do, it's incredibly attractive because people follow people going places, right? People want to know you. They want to know why you care before they care anything about what you know. In fact, so for example, one of my favorite examples is Martin Luther King Jr., right? He had immense love for everybody, but he also had some enemies. And I don't mean the personal enemies. His enemies were poverty and inequality. And he fought against those enemies, and he ended up giving his life. They killed him because he fought for those things. He fought against those things. So it's taking a stand, being willing to stand up and stand against something that just doesn't belong is something that people can understand, right? It's an emotional connection you make, and people want to be part of that mission. And once they're with you, once they fall in love with what you're doing, the rest is easy. When it comes to anything in business, products and services, if they need what your product is, it's almost a done deal. We're 22. So these are going to jump all over the place, by the way. So that person was a little heavy. I get it. All right, we're going to lighten up a little bit. So let's talk about scheduling. I believe you have to schedule fun. Got to schedule fun. See, we're so good at scheduling what we call important stuff, right? I got to schedule my doctor's appointment. I got to schedule my work deadlines. But rarely do we consider fun to be important. And I know I'm talking to the right group with we're doodling. Come on. Doodling is not just fun. And I know Karen would agree with this. It is vitally important. See, we just don't take time to do what we want instead of what we must. We're so caught up in what we've got to do, we forget to do what we want to do, which honestly is kind of it's enslaving us to a schedule. It's enslaving us to another person's life. This is a poison, right? And by the way, when we take this poison, when we wake up and we're like, oh, I got this calendar, I got the stuff I got to do, it suffocates our energy. It transforms our mindset, and it completely kills our attitude. And then, by the way, we can go out there and like put on the brave face, hey, I'm gonna smile. Hey, another day, another dollar, hey, I'm doing great. We can say all those things, but our energy will tell the truth, right? And that's what people listen to. No one hears a word we say. They are looking at our energy. They're looking, it's funny, I was just talking to someone about this. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I was just talking about to someone about doing presentations. And I said, look, no one has to believe a word you say when you present. They just have to believe that you believe what you're saying. They're looking for conviction, right? No one's fact checking you while you're doing a presentation. Like, oh, well, Josh says this, I better check. No, he's like, does Josh believe what he's saying? If so, all right, that's a good start. Now I can verify it later. So you can't fake it. Faking it is very repelling. When you're authentic, when you actually believe the words that are coming out of your mouth, that's attractive. So schedule and fun is the whole point of that. All right, what's next here? Oh, this is a weird one. If you've never tried this, I highly recommend it. look, we're in a society that, I'll keep track of timer, that completely abhors silence. We hate silence. It's like we go out of our freaking minds without noise. You can't even go a minute without noise. If you go out in public, can you find a place like a Starbucks or a shopping center or a store? Everything has got noise. In fact, if you're not speaking, the first thing people want to know is, what the heck's wrong with you? What's wrong? Oh no, what's wrong? Why aren't you talking? We've gotten so wrapped around the axle around just having to speak and talk. So look, noise itself, I'm not saying is good or bad. There's good noises, right? Some noises are very good. They're soothing. They're uplifting. Some, not so much. But when you go without speaking, it does a couple of things, really, really important things. First, it gives you insight. And I'll say that again. It gives you insight. See, when it's not coming out, it allows you to go in. When the door, think of a revolving door, when the door is not constantly going out, sometimes the door can go inward. It gives you a chance to breathe, reflect, and most importantly, just stop. Stop for once, just stop, right? Stop doing, just be. And by the way, just being, just you, the real you, is very, very attractive. That's what people want to see. And second thing is, it makes you appreciate sound, especially listening, because, well, that's all you get to do, right? If you're not speaking, you're probably listening. And when we listen to others properly, right, when they actually feel heard, we also become more attractive. We attract. And lastly, the last little tip here, schedule a monthly. So I believe we should always have a mentor and be a mentor. Always. You know, it's interesting. A mentor once told me, this is one of my favorite little lessons. He says, Josh, it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes all the difference in the world. I'll say it one more time. It's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes all the difference in the world. So having a mentor is your recognition, not just to the world, but to yourself, that you've got more to learn, right? And it keeps us humble. And humility, yeah, you guessed it, is very attractive. So being in that position where we're ready to learn, willing to learn, but also taking time to share, right? So whether you're meeting with someone who's your mentor or you're being a mentor to someone else, it doesn't have to be giving advice. It could just be a friendly ear. It could just be listening, spending time with a person and making it all about them and not about you. Not only will they appreciate it, by the way, but you're going to find a new level of peace and inspiration for yourself. My favorite part about sharing, right? I don't like to say I do public speaking, I do public sharing. My favorite part about sharing is every time I do and every conversation I have, I get inspired. I guarantee you I'm going to walk away from this meeting. I'm going to have notes. I'm going to have inspiration, things I never thought of, just from things that you all say or just the way this thing flows. That's it. Always happens. And that lets me become a better creator. So these are the 4 tips. I think I'm right there on time. If there's any questions, happy to answer. There's so much more that I would love to go into. So if there's any specific questions, I'm happy to answer it. But how am I on time? Did I do good?
You did great. You did awesome.
Okay.
That was awesome. So I just want to open it up. Like if anybody has some questions for clarity, you could ask it now while we're sort of on the topic before we go into the internal doodling and processing of it. If it turns into something that feels more like a discussion that we're going to have at the end, I'm just going to write it down as a note so we can revisit it at our discussion towards the end here. But if you have a question for clarity, I see Vanessa. Yeah. You might, yeah.
I do have a question. It's in terms of magnetism, and I guess we have the opposite as well, you know, which would be repellence, I guess,
Yeah.
which along the lines of what you say. So let's say you have a communication with a person online that you meet and you really like their vibe and they like your vibe, and you're interested in suggesting some work that you work together with that person. whether it's a coaching, therapy, or whichever. My question is, how to stay magnetic and not repellent, to say it already when you're going to talk to the person. Say, hey, I want to just get in talk with you, and should I say, I want to suggest something to you, which I think would be more honest than just saying, hey, let's just chat, which I'm a little bit afraid that it would feel manipulative, because yes, I do want to chat, but I also like you, so I want to offer something to you, and I wanted to see what you thought about that and how you can relate it into your tips that you're giving us today.
That is such an excellent question. Fantastic question, because this is a very common question as well, where, look, we're going to have a conversation, but there's a purpose to the conversation, and it's okay to want to help someone. The way I would approach this, though, is my favorite thing is I'm insanely curious. I love asking questions, and so if I want to talk with someone, I think I can help them, I'm going to even lead in the conversation, or lead before the conversation with questions. Hey, I've got a couple quick questions for you. Do you have a few minutes? I would love to ask these questions. And my questions are going to dig into what I perceive they're struggling with. So even if I have already some idea, I'm still going to ask these questions, because when we come to agreement, this is one of the number one things I see salespeople, number one mistake they make. They try and sell their solution. Never, never, never sell your products and services. That's the biggest mistake. The only thing you need to sell is the problem. Once you and I agree that I'm struggling with a problem, all you've got to do is ask me if I want to solve it, if I would like to do something about it. And then all you have to do is offer that solution. When I say, yes, I want to do something about it, you're just offering. There is no more sales. There's no more trying to convince me. So I love asking questions, and we can go a lot deeper into this. But really genuinely being curious about what they're struggling with, get agreement on it, and then offer that solution to them at the right time. That's the very, very simplified answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you had, even in your one of the many tips was something about asking questions. Just that curiosity is so attractive to people. Yeah, I love that response.
And
Anybody
to be
else?
honest, or curiosity, I like that you can just that's something that I naturally have, that I want to know, and I don't have to like hide it. On the opposite, just put it out first and not be ashamed of it, not try to sell something, but just like authentically want to know.
That's right. And also human psychology wise, if you say it, they will get defensive. If I tell you that you're struggling with something, or your job sucks, or something like that, you're going to get defensive even if you agree with me. That's the craziest part. We'll automatically get defensive if we're told something, but if I get you to say it, it's automatically true. So if I ask you, do you love your job? And you're like, no, it sucks. Bam, it's true. But see, I can't say that. I can't tell you that. Even if I know it's true, I can't tell you that. I've got to ask the right questions and get you to say it. Now we agree on the problem. Now we can move forward towards a solution together.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. It's very clear. Thank you so much.
All right. If there aren't any more questions, we are going to start sliding into our what I call imagination and meditation, a little bit of a visualization, which will take us into our doodling. So get comfortable in your seat, everybody. Maybe just take some nice deep breaths, just start relaxing. We just listened to something, and we also, so that is very much in our head. And now with some deep breaths, I want you to bring it into your body as well. So just notice your breath for a minute. Imagine pulling all that good energy into the rest of your body. If you have anywhere that feels tight, you can give it a little shimmy maybe. You can breathe some breath into it to open it up. And just come into your being, as Josh was talking about, the importance of just being. And we can come into the silence, the importance of just having a bit of silence. And let yourself think about one thing that he shared that's standing out to you without trying to figure it out. We're not trying to solve any problems right now. Just holding it lightly with some curiosity. One thing that jumped out to you. And I want you to start imagining that one little thing as some type of little friend that you can walk with, or run with, or skate with, or swim with, whatever you want to do with him. But imagine this one little idea as like a little sidekick, a little friend. Just notice what comes up in your mind. It might look so silly, and that's awesome. It could be serious. It could be really abstract. It could be really clear. Just notice what comes up in your mind. Be curious with it. What might be something that you do together? And as you're seeing things, in just a minute, I'm going to invite you to slowly blink your eyes open and doodle for 5 minutes. Just starting with whatever came up in your mind and seeing where it takes you. So doodling without an agenda, doodling without needing it to be anything, but just seeing where it goes with curiosity. And if you get stuck, remember, you could just draw some circles and see where the circles take you. Remember your intention. All right, when you feel ready, you can blink your eyes open. We're going to go for 5 minutes for this. We are going to move into sharing mode. So a couple ways to share. One is you can simply show us your doodle and say anything that you see within it, or if you want to talk about the process, what you noticed about that. Another slightly more adventurous, possibly fun way is to hold up your doodle and invite the others here to say what they see in your doodle before you say anything about it. So they're not influenced or colored by your perception in any way. If they do that, you are welcome to take anything that resonates, but everything they say obviously doesn't have to resonate. It can just be what they see, and maybe it's even for them. So then that way your doodle can also serve others.
I've never done this before. Do we just share when
Oh,
we're
I love
Okay.
it. I love that you've never
Okay.
done this
All right.
before, and
All
you're the
right.
first one. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you could talk about it. You could just share anything you want to, or you could hold it up and say what other people.
This was good for me. So I'm from Maine. I forgot to say that from the beginning. And a bit backstory with me. So I own 2 businesses now. I am a photographer and a graphic designer and an artist, as well as an LMT. So I'm a licensed massage therapist here in Maine. And I just reopened that. I had actually retired, I thought, for a year. And so I just opened this last week. But so I struggle with fun. And one of the things that stood out to me was schedule fun. And so that was what I did. And so I have a bit of a new spirit animal that had come to me as a dragonfly. And it was showing me things that I enjoy doing, like playing computer games or my film photography, painting and drawing, and how all of these, and the whole point with the parts coming out was like inspiration, and how me scheduling that fun and doing things that really make me feel good and that I enjoy will help lead me to inspiration, because I have been pushed and very inspired lately to look into starting a massage school where I'm at. The one that is in my town is not very good, and the students are suffering knowledge-wise. And everybody I know is like, you need to start a school. And I think about myself in that position, and it brings me a lot of like extreme joy when I think about teaching. And so that's kind of that whole process that happened for me, was that I need to schedule that time to have fun so I can be led to more inspiration. So I don't know if is
That's
that
lovely.
Yeah, okay.
That's beautiful. And Josh, I open the floor too. If there's anything from, your perspective that you want to add to what people are saying, feel free to come off mute at any time. But yeah, I think that's beautiful to follow the fun to the next piece of inspiration.
I have a very hard time, and I recognize this in myself. It comes from my past, from my childhood. It was very abusive, and I've had many abusive relationships over my life. And whenever I'm having fun, I feel like it's wrong. And then so I'll punish myself by not allowing myself to do the things that I want to do. Like, oh, well, I have to do laundry, or I have to do this, or I need to do something for my business. And so it's kind of like a self-punishment, whereas I don't need that. Like, it's okay for me to have fun and enjoy myself. And that's the space that is foreign to me. And I'm learning how to allow myself that freedom. And so, yeah.
That's
Yeah, Anna, thank you for, or Anna, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
When you talked about opening a massage school,
Yeah.
and you said it brings you, as soon as you said it brings you, the first thing I was thinking, oh my goodness, is she like scared or worried, or is it stress? And you said joy. And I thought
Yeah.
that was so awesome that you saw that opportunity as joyous and not as something necessarily scary, or that's going to get, that's going to take the joy out of it. So that's really cool. That's actually a good sign, in my opinion, that you might be on the right track there.
Good.
because the business stuff is always solvable, right? You can always find the right
Yes.
people to help you with the business aspect.
Yeah.
But starting with the joy aspect, only you can determine that. So
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, and
thank you.
scheduling that fun seems really imperative so that because joyful people are attractive, like we want to be around
Yeah.
joyful people.
Yeah.
And if you keep scheduling the fun and you keep being joyful in the process, then, you know, people are going to sort of rally around that. It sounds like you
Yeah.
already people want to. So,
And actually it chimes in with something that I just wanted to add. And I'm going to be doing a podcast on it here when I have time, but I realized the other day I was laying there and I was having trouble with intimacy, and I was laying in bed and I was like, my cup is completely empty. And then the next morning I woke up and I just wanted to cry all day. And I realized that my cup isn't empty. It's actually really full, and it's like overflowing with like sadness and shame and all this stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get this out of here so I can put joy and peace and love and happiness in there. And so that is another thing that's going to help me be able to, I think scheduling the fun time will also help me empty a lot of that stuff out.
mhm.
So,
And
Yes.
thank you for sharing that too. And there's something I want to mention about that. You know, in nature, I'm a big fan of nature. Everything that's kind of my litmus test for should I do something, or is it good or not. But in nature doesn't like vacuums. And I see a lot of folks trying to, like, I need to get rid of this so I can replace it with something else. When reality, if you just consider just getting the good stuff in, the bad stuff gets pushed out and there's no room. It's really hard. So I call it don't quit. Stop. I call it quit quitting. No,
Quit quitting.
try and
like
stop
that.
quitting and start starting.
Okay.
So let's say people like smoking or they're caught in smoking, for example, and I want to stop smoking.
Yeah.
Don't stop smoking. Start doing something that's incompatible with smoking. So maybe sign up for a marathon. And so start doing that. And you're going to find that not only can you not smoke, because you can't smoke and run a marathon, let's say, for example,
Yeah.
at least if you train with me, and then you're actually going to lose your desire for smoking because you're focused on something so good, you don't have time for the other stuff. So
Okay.
just a different perspective, not to wait to empty your cup necessarily, but start filling it anyways with good stuff and push the other stuff out because you won't have time or patience or energy for it.
I like that. Thank you.
Me too. Woohoo. Thanks,
I
Anna.
would,
Yeah.
oh, Vanessa, did you want to go next?
Go ahead,
sure?
Carrie, and we'll get Vanessa
Okay.
next. Yeah.
Well, this is getting me so excited over here because I am such a believer in, well, the words that are coming up for me are following your bliss, like following the joy. And this is like what I do is embody so much of the idea of being playful, adventurous, having fun. But I really appreciated what you shared. Is it Anna? Anna?
Yeah, it's Anna.
Yeah, because like as you were talking, Josh, earlier, the words came to me that there's the productivity that we have in our culture, that emphasis on it is poison on some level. Like it robs us of all the fun and the joy. So it's so great to have these spaces to have that, even just doodling. And yeah, so I have kind of discovered that the joy that comes from prioritizing pleasure and play and fun. And, you know, one of the things that you said that I was kind of focusing on during this doodle is talking about sales, like only sell the problem. And Karen has been helping me to kind of like find ways to communicate like how I help solve people's problems, because I know that I can, but it's more this like, I don't know, marketing piece or communicating in a way to where that person is like, oh, I get it. You know, I get like how this could actually help me. And I don't know why, but I've been blocked around this for so long. And so I brought that to the doodle. And let me share it so you can see. Let's see. I don't know if this is going to
That's
capture
good.
the whole. Can you see the
Yeah.
whole thing?
I
Okay.
think so.
So so I started thinking about like this journey of communicating and conveying it. And so I started like, I struggle to get into this kind of like, I love words and pictures are hard for me. So I was like stuck for a while, but I was like, just let your pen go. And so it created this like little path, this journey. And at the end it's like, this is the pleasure, the fun. And so how do I get people there, right? And so some words came up like there's the openness, the curiosity, asking people questions, and then discovering like engaging these, let's call them, I don't know, ideal clients or those target people. Like I have to engage them in a way, but I've not wanted to. And so when I thought about doing it in this playful way, like just curiously winding around, asking them questions, discovering things, and then slowly it like leads you closer and closer to the answer. It just, the whole internally, the energy I felt around it changed. Like it went from being this like, ugh, I don't want to do this, I can't do it, to, well, that doesn't sound so hard. Like maybe I can just start having conversations with people and just be playful about it. Why not? And so, yeah, so for me, it's, I guess I would say it's opened up this desire to want to get closer to those people and understand them more so that I can, I don't know, refine my communication around it and invite people into the world the way that I see it and how I think I can support them. So every time this unlocks something, Karen, every time.
Do you mind if I say something I see or notice?
Yeah, sure. I'll hold it back up.
I just noticed that like the path sort of begins and ends in a similar spot. That's something that I find very interesting and curious. Oh. They both open up to the same space that's, you know, one's a little closer to the flame, but one isn't very far from it. And so, yeah, I guess I'm also like that. The whole winding thing seems like fun. Like that's the other thing I'm noticing about it is it's fun and it's playful and it has colors in it and it's like an interesting journey to be on. Like the journey is much bigger than the destination too, but it seems to begin and end. So that's just something that's coming up when I see it.
I like that. I don't know what that means, the beginning and end, but I'm going to sit with that because probably something that.
Do you want anybody else to say something that they see in it, or would you like to move on?
Sure, yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Anybody?
So the floor is open. You can say anything you notice about it, or how it makes you feel.
I did want to touch too on the fact that you had mentioned how it starts and ends at the same place, which is very symbolic of they have it already. So that being something that you can start with, like they're on this journey there where they already have it. And they kind of how we have to go through this path to realize, oh, I've had it this whole time. It's always been with me. So it's kind of, I like that.
Ah, that's really cool. Thank you.
I will add also, I see like a light as if it's a candle. So for me, it's kind of like a beacon of hope for every person that you talk with. It's like you're giving them hope and light and you're kind of showing them the way towards their life. So that's always like something warm and like cuddly, like waiting for them, that your presence is what's giving, you know, your potential or actual clients.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, the flame part, sorry, for me is right above the openness. And so that kind of to me is where they intersect. So like as you be open, then they become open, right? So it's almost like you have to start with you for this journey. That's what it felt like for me. Love it.
Love that. Thank you for pointing that out.
And then the flame part for me is right above the red. So it's almost like on the journey, once you get to the discovery part and you discover that thing, it's like a passion is ignited.
Ooh, that's good. Oh, I like that. You guys are just fanning this flame over here.
I realized too that the path looks like a smoke trail for the flame.
Mm. Oh, wow. It does.
Yeah, my attention is drawn to the flame as well, and I'm noticing how it's very full, like it's all filled in red, and then it sort of gradually dwindles down, and then it's kind of a dotted line. So I'm thinking to me that's very regenerative, reciprocal. Like I need to replenish that flame.
Mm. Very cool. Thank you.
I love the words that you chose, but I also like the words you didn't choose. You know, there's nothing on there about sales or closing or clients or money. So my question it would be, what if you didn't care if they became your client or not? What if you just did go in with curiosity and had a conversation and kept it high level, kept it focused on something bigger than just anything you're offering in your products or services, and just made a friend maybe and let it go where it goes without trying to guide it? Because we're all very guilty of that, right? We all go into conversation focused on, I know I can help this person. How do I convince them to like say yes? But I notice all your words there are not in that direction. They're just much more natural, much more relationship building. So I like that.
Wow, I love that because it takes the pressure off. And I had that realization in this is the block has been around the pressure of having to either figure it out or have the answer or something, which robs you from the enjoyment of it. So, and what you're saying is so much more authentic. Like you just show up as yourself and support them or guide them without it needing to go anywhere. So I'm with you. I think that can probably like speak for itself enough to generate a sale or a friend or a connection. That's great.
Absolutely.
Wow. You guys are amazing.
Thank you for your amazing doodle. Keep your sharing.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have time for a couple more shares. So who else? Yeah, Vanessa, that's right. You're next. Sorry. Almost forgot. You're up.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my doodle. I'm just going to tell you the theme that I chose from Josh's tips, which was about curiosity. The way that I work is I work with cellular memory. I go back to the womb with people who are having difficulties and figure out which promises they made in the womb or a little bit after to see what's troubling them later on. So the theme of today is curiosity. And so I will just say, let you decide or let you share what you see. You could start saying, if this were my doodle, I would see this. And then at the end, I can share, what I've been wanting to, how do you say that in English? Project, yes.
Awesome. I mean, something that immediately strikes me is like the happiness is in the question. That's a phrase that comes up as I look at it. Right in the center.
Let's see if I can see it. Mm-hmm.
I see, in the womb, like a loving marriage or relationship or family with the heart. And then down below, I know that from my spiritual beliefs anyway, I think that we decide in the womb what challenges that we want to have and overcome and how we want to grow. And so I see that like the clouds and the moon kind of reminds me of a storm. So it kind of has a resemblance of like friction that will happen in the life. The other two, I'm not sure of yet.
Yeah, my energy is drawn to the middle immediately, and seeing this question, I view that as if it were my doodle, that's a question mark. And then I'm seeing these squiggles as a representation of dialogue, like it's only through dialogue and expression and listening that question is going to really be explored, and then that leads to this huge smile.
The other thing I'm noticing now is that piece in the bottom corner, like the squares. And one thing that pops up for me is the idea of like layers. It's interesting that there's some texture in the center. And for right now, they're looking like seeds to me. Like maybe there's some seeds deep below the layers there, ready, full of potential. Awesome. What's resonating for you, Vanessa? What are you thinking about?
Well, a little bit about what everybody said. Yes, indeed the questioning is making me happy that I can just be curious about everything and about everybody. And what I meant to do was each one was different. Was love in terms of loving relationships. So asking people what makes them love one another, and what makes me love someone else as well. This one was money. And I because I work in different currencies in different countries, I just didn't know which one to put in, but I like the fact that you did the seeds, because in the end, seeds are really kind of what starts off a relationship. What money is for, to ground seeds somewhere and to develop into something else. So that makes sense. And I like what Anna said about the storm. For me, it was more about questioning the weather. Why are things like that? Why is the sun like that? Why is philosophy? And it also has to do with a lot of the storms also in my life. Like Anna, my beginnings were a little bit rocky. So this is always a part of me, and it's not something that I can make go away, with a smile. It's just something that makes me profound and makes me ask kind of complicated questions to myself and to people around me. And this is a help. Like that, like I was putting in, why does the body hurt somewhere? Why do you have kidney problems? Why is your blood? Why is, so it's kind of being an open curiosity and rejoicing in that. And just that I'm always going to be asking questions, and it's okay. And that's kind of the way I kind of relate to people. And sometimes even before I say hello, I just go, hey, can I ask you a question? And I just kind of go into this. So this talk today is helping me a lot to appreciate my curiosity about life. And I know that the theme of today is business, but I think it's linked with everything as well. Like you say, you're not exactly like, Carrie was saying, you're not into a conversation just to make money, but to make a connection. And if this connection leads into something deeper, into a business relationship, then it's wonderful. In the end, it's all kind of interwoven together. So your comments really like help me grounded and put those thoughts about curiosity together. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vanessa. We have time for one more share. Who would like to jump in for a few minutes?
I have a quick one.
Yeah.
I kind of got stuck for the first time. I got stuck.
Doesn't look like it.
These are just my notes, but can you see
There
it okay?
we go. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I kind of played off of the idea of having fun and inserting fun into your work and little blocks of fun. So this is kind of like my inner child that is like a fun junkie and just trying to stay balanced in the fun, but like inserting the bursts of fun in the weaving of a workday. And actually it's making me quite curious, like, well, what could I do for fun? So I need to just sit with that for a little bit and figure out what that actually will look like to the point where I can stay, so I can keep working and not go off somewhere and have fun for the rest of the day. Does that make sense? Anybody else get anything else?
Yeah, can we say if we see things?
Oh, sure.
I see that fun. It looks like you're describing fun as very spiritual too. For some reason, it's almost like up in the clouds and you got the gold. So like fun is for our soul. Like it's something, it's godly in a way, which I agree with. It really is. It's something that's part of our core, part of our soul, part of our being. And to deny it only creates stress, only creates issues. So thank you.
It reminds me of something I heard just like yesterday. I can't even remember where, but it was saying something like the 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 distance between like, or like the amount of time that you spend in your soul versus the amount of time that you don't is the amount of unhappiness you are, or something like that. Like it was just so, to me, it was just like, oh God, it just hit me like somewhere true, you know, like,
Yeah.
man, maybe, you know, if we are looking at like spiritually, for me, I do believe that maybe we're imparted with fun for a reason, not because we're not fun. Like that is actually a very spiritual path to follow our fun. Like, why didn't the divine, or whatever you want to call it, implant us with a fun way to go about our lives and put our purpose into our lives? We're so
Yeah.
programmed to think the opposite, but yeah. And the
Yeah.
spirals to me are also really intriguing as the head. Spirals. Oh, I love spirals for so many
I do
reasons.
too. I guess that's like, that represents for me like creativity. And just as everyone's saying what they're saying, I feel like another layer is that you know, it's important to let that inner child out. And so these are like representations of my little inner child being able to go free and have some fun. And because work and adulting can kind of suppress it and stomp it out. So to be intentional about allowing our inner child to come out and have fun and play. I think play is important too as adults, to stay young, you know.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder how I can even start to infiltrate the work in this way that makes the work more playful and fun in and of itself too. Like, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just
right.
wanted to say to Nikki real quick, I was hitting spacebar, it wasn't happening, but what I got from what you're saying and then your image too was that maybe for you, like when life is getting too intense and too stressful and too grown up, that's when you need to throw that little bit off balance and bring that inner child out. That's kind of what I got from that.
Oh yeah.
And redefine what it means to grow up and be an adult. Can we just redefine that whole thing? That word adulting, man. You let touch a nerve in me on that one.
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you, Nikki.
Does everyone know George Burns? Everyone's heard of George Burns, very famous actor from the 20th century. He used to say, "You can't help getting older, but you never have to get old." I love that quote of his.
I love it. Yes. All right. So what I want you all to do is to look at this doodle for a minute, just for 30 seconds. I want you to take in what you drew. Just notice something about it you didn't notice before. Or maybe just notice what's jumping out to you right now in this moment about it. And do it without any judgment. Just do it with some enjoyment, like we're talking about, some playful spirit. Oh, I saw some smiles while y'all did that. That made me happy. That was cute. And just close your eyes now. And I want you to listen for one little piece of inspiration, one little idea, nothing that feels overwhelming or stressful, but something that feels like, ooh, that would be fun. Oh, I get to do that. A little piece of inspired action. And as you hear it, go ahead and write it down for yourself. And that piece of inspired action can be a fun, attractive saying for you to do this week. My guess, maybe Josh would back me up on this. If it's attractive to you, you're probably going to wind up being attractive. And yeah, you like that. And so play with it. Maybe leave your doodle out next to you for the coming days. See what else it might speak to you. And maybe you want to do a little bit more on it. Maybe you want to doodle something else because of it. This is just a process you can return to again and again for a little piece of going within, getting some silence, hearing yourself, getting some inspired action. So thank you so much for being here. Josh, that was awesome. Thank you for all of that. We loved it. I think I speak for us all. We were eating it up. So we appreciate that. And we'll be twisting your arm later for the manuscript. All right.
No problem.
Thanks, you all.